Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to leg one of World Tour Wednesday. It's finally here. We are doing KDFW to KMCO. This is American Airlines Flight 1212, and it's going to be awesome. Today we're doing a real-world route. I actually went to FlightAware and picked a route from FlightAware from a flight that is happening today on the 30th. And we're going to do that route. So without further ado, let's get into the cockpit and let's get going. So we are loaded up in the default state, the default long state, I should say. When you're doing PMDG setup, panel state, NGX long is how we're set up. So first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and align the IRSs. I'm going to throw those on a line, do that. Then come back down here and we're going to do our fuel and payload. So zero fuel weight today is going to be 123.8 thousand pounds. And fuel, our release fuel is going to be 169,000 pounds. Alright, so ground connections, those are still good. We still want those. Doors are good. Let's go ahead and close the cargo doors. We're not going to do any, we want to close that. We're not going to do any GSX stuff today. We're just really going to get in and get going. So now that the payload and the fuel is set up, we're going to go into the ident page, and we're going to clear that out. Pause in it. We're going to go to page 2, GPS left, come back and set that. KDFW. There we go. And now we're going to go to route. KDFW, and I saved it as KMCO 01. Company route, loaded in, AAL 1212 to flight number. Activate and execute. Now departure arrival, we're going to be doing a departure. We're going to be doing the Marsh 2 departure. Off of runway 17 right, and we're going to have a Azalea transition. We're going to execute that, go back, and we're going to do our perf in it now. So like I said before, zero fuel weight was 123.8 thousand pounds. Planned fuel is 21.2. Our reserves today are 2.4. and our cost index is 80. Our cruising altitude is going to be flight level 370. Transition is correct, and everything else is good there. We can execute our perf. Now our N1. I did use TopCat to get this, so we're going to be going a takeoff 2. And we're going to be 37 degrees assumed temperature, so it's going to be 22 kd rate with climb 1 thrust, my bad, and also flaps 1. We're going to use this little trick to get center of gravity, and we're going to compare these numbers with what I've got from TopCat, and they are the exact same, so we're good. We got a trim of 5.26. So we can go ahead and set that real quick. Come down here and watch that. Wait for it to go right past 5, and we're good. Runway heading, we're just going to put it at 170, even though that's not exact with the runway. And so we can get our maps working, we're going to set these to nav. There we go. We're going to set our heading to 170. Well, we use 174 because it actually lines up with the thing. Arm the auto throttle. Set this to V2 plus 20, which is 171. And we're going to bump this all the way up to 37,000 feet, since we're just going to go straight there. We've got a nice route today. So our route today takes us down across Louisiana, and then we're actually flying over the Gulf of Mexico. There is some weather in Florida and Alabama and Georgia, so we are avoiding that. Most of the time this route goes through, goes all across land, so it goes across Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, then goes down Florida. But today we're actually going to be crossing the Gulf of Mexico, which is always pretty fun just because it's something that doesn't normally happen with this route. This is one of my favorite real-world 737 routes. It's one that I have flown in real life a lot, so that's probably why I like it so much. I know a lot about it. Unfortunately, sometimes I get stuck on MD-80s and the occasional A320, but A320s are nice. Even though I'm a Boeing guy, A320s are still nice. Alright, so pretty much everything is good now. What we're going to do is we're going to start the APU, double check that the packs are off, and we're going to go APU start. Also the yaw damper and emergency lights here. And we're going to go ahead and retract the jetway, use Control J to do that. Then we're going to come down in here and we're going to go ahead and close up the aircraft. Close door. And put this on the ground connections page. Go ahead and remove the air conditioning unit. Might get a little hot for them. And then we can remove the ground power once we have the APU running. So we're just going to be watching this EGT monitor and then waiting for this blue light to turn on. And in the meantime, we can get GSX ready to go for pushback and departure. Prepare for pushback departure. We are on C21. We want to be nose to the right. No. We want nose left because runway is to the north. Or the start of the runway is to the north. No, we don't want to do that. Alright, APU is good. Come down here. We want to go to this one. Remove the wheel chocks. Set the parking brake using Control period. And looks like we are good for now. Next up, we're going to push back and then, gotta set the pressurization panel. Landing altitude is 100 feet. Set that as well. Alright, next up, we're going to push back, and once we start pushback, we're going to start our engines. Now look at that. Alright, here we go. We are pushing back within 8 minutes of loading into the aircraft, 8-9 minutes of loading into the aircraft. So if you want to learn how to set up this aircraft quick, I just gave you a pretty good video. Alright. I'm so used to automated aircraft, so we gotta wait for this to hit 25 before we throw in the fuel. And we're there. We're gonna go to a wing view real quick while we watch the engine start up. Yeah, and if you heard that click like I did, it's time to start engine number 2, or actually engine number 1. Here we go. Just go ahead and wait for this to spool up. Since we are pushing back, we're going to go ahead and put the TCAS on as well. and put traffic and weather on the display. Not that we're going to have any here, but we will have some weather later. Alright, fuel for engine number 1 is in, and that was a really loud noise, but that was my ice maker dropping ice in. Interesting. Now, is he going to stop us? Alright, control period for the parking brake. And once this starter clicks over, we can go ahead and do the rest of our overhead panel. There we go. Now we're going to turn on all our fuel pumps. Make sure and hit our engine generators. Probe heat. Hydraulic pumps. We can do window heat later. Packs on. This zone temp light is going to bother me so bad, but it's going to do that because it's so freaking hot outside. I am from Dallas, and I can tell you it's really hot. Alright, now we're good to turn off the APU. And once these guys are out of the way, we'll go ahead and turn the taxi light on. So we're actually going to clear that because it's just going to tell us about the zone temp the entire time. Alright, who cares if they get blinded? We're going to turn taxi, runway turn off lights, strobe is on, anti-collision's on, and that's all we need. Now before we taxi, we're going to set our flaps to 1, double check that everything's good, auto brake is RTO, and we're just going to taxi down this way, all the way down, get on the runway, and leave. It's going to be a pretty quick taxi. Well, relatively quick. Alright, parking brake out, let's put in some power. Here we go. We are leaving Terminal C, Gate C21. And we're just going to use this line here. Oh, we way overshot the line. Ignore the fact that I am on 0 taxi lines right now. But now we're on this line, and we can keep going. Now this is the taxiway that we are going to take all the way down to the threshold of the runway. Alright, so I hope you guys are as stoked as I am for the start of the Wednesday World Tour. I think part of what's got me so hyped is we are doing one of my favorite real-world routes, at least real-world 737 routes. It's a great route, very scenic, just because it's got the coastline and the ocean. And I love, obviously, the departure airport because it is my home airport and I know so much about it. Whoops, forgot to start the first officer's clock for gate-to-gate time. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. Hope you guys are too. Next week is KMCO to KDCA, that is Washington Dulles, I believe. No, sorry, that's not Dulles. I believe it's Washington Ronald Reagan. I'll confirm it again at the end of the video for you guys, just so you know what you're looking forward to. We're going to have a good approach on that one. That's going to be a nice and scenic approach. Hopefully we can get the river visual approach. It all depends on the wind, though. I haven't done the river visual approach in a while, so we're either going to nail it and it's going to be awesome, or I'm going to absolutely flounder it and it's going to be hilarious. So either way, I think we will get some good content out of next week's World Tour leg. This week, make sure and keep an eye out for 787 flight. I will be showing off the Quality Wing 787 in an actual flight, and probably be utilizing the jump ahead feature just to try it out. I haven't tried it out yet. I did do a flight the other day. I'm probably going to replicate the exact same flight to put on YouTube here. Probably going to do the exact same flight. I did Amsterdam to Houston, and I'll probably do the same flight but use the jump ahead feature just to show that it works, I guess. I don't know, I haven't tried it yet, so I hope it works. But we'll see. Alright, so we're going to use this first entrance here. Use the Echo Golf intersection with the runway. So there we go. And runway, let's go ahead and verify the runway. Runway 17 right is what we are entering right now. 17 right or 35 left. So we have identified the runway. We're turning on to it, so we're going to go ahead and landing lights on, taxi and turn off lights off. And we're ready to go. We are going to just do a quick there we go, flight director's on, and now we arm LNAV and VNAV. We're not even going to stop, we're just going to get it moving. Spool up to 50% power as we line up. Alright, we are stable at 59.5 and toga. Here we go. Oh, I forgot to hit the clock for flight time. Alright, we passed 80 knots. And we are at V1 and rotate. Gonna pull back to about 12 to 15% and positive rate gear up. Let's take a look outside real quick. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Now I'm gonna hand fly it just for a little bit. Follow that flight director there. I could even use the heads up display if I really wanted to. Gotta get that little circle in the circle. There we go. Alright, and we have just transitioned to climb thrust. So we're gonna be accelerating a little bit now that we're at acceleration height. It's gonna be about time to put the flaps up, so we're gonna close the heads up and we're gonna go ahead and put autopilot on. Let autopilot do its thing, and we can go outside and admire the views. Ah, there's the airport looking back over the wing. That's a nice view. Take a screenshot of that. Alright, go ahead and turn the gear off. And everything else looks good. Only thing left to do, well, is apparently rearm VNAV. That's interesting. We're probably above our vertical path now. And probably why we still have flaps 1 and we're still under flaps 1 maneuvering speed. But other than that, now we're good. And now that we're at maneuvering speed, we're going to go ahead and go flaps up. Put this on the legs page and put this on the climb page. Well, it's already on the climb page. We're going to make a nice left turn We're going to be flying right past downtown Dallas over there. And there is Love Field out there. Dallas Love Field. I need some good scenery for Dallas Love Field. I would love to fly some Southwest flights, but there's just really no good scenery for Love Field. It's a tragedy, I know. Alright, well, 20 minutes in, and we are up in the air and on our way to KMCO. I'm going to let you guys enjoy the cruise a little bit. And I will see you guys when it's time to prepare for landing. Alright, bye-bye now. Alright, we are about 60 nautical miles from top of descent, and we only have about 20 nautical miles until we get to the end of our route. So we're going to go ahead and plan the descent. So we're going to get down and do that. That is our next step after we get near to the end of cruise. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to go to departures, arrivals, go to KMCO arrivals. We're going to be using the Coaster 3 star with a simmer transition, simmer, and we are going to be landing runway 17 left. And I'm going to pull up the charts real quick for that runway. Show you those. ILS localizer 17 left. And there is that K-key transition onto the runway approach path. So we're also going to go ahead and take that so that everything lines up. And we're going to execute. Now really quickly, before we get too far on our route, we're going to hit plan, and then we're actually going to step through the route. So top of descent is going to be a little bit after psych, so I believe now we actually have a little bit longer than 60 nautical miles until top of descent, because we're going a more roundabout way. But we have at least planned our descent, and we had to because we were running out of space. Then we're coming around here, then we're going to take a right turn. Looks like it vectors us, but since we're not using any ATC, and we're going to ignore those vectors, so we're going to take Keiki here and put it right on top of the vector, and it'll give us a nice weird path. Normally we would vector and then make a manual right turn onto the localizer, but we're going to do it this way. And we're going to hit execute, and we're going to double check that everything works, and it comes right here and lands on runway 18 left. And then we have our go around procedure. Alright, so now that that is set up, top of descent is now actually in 87 nautical miles, so it looks like we gained close to 30 nautical miles before top of descent. So passengers are going to have to sit down just a little bit longer. You can see there is a little bit of weather out here to the left. You can definitely see the clouds out there for that weather. Hopefully there's not a lot of weather on top of the airport, but we will see when we get a little bit closer. Alright, I'll see you guys. Actually, I'll see you guys when we get near the bottom. Probably not going to show too much of the descent, but when we get close to final approach, I'll see you guys then. Alright, we are back a little bit before top of, or a little bit after top of descent, I should say. And I figure I'm going to try and teach something here. We're going to learn how to set and offset. If you see all this weather here, we are going to try and avoid that weather. We are off the network again, so we're not dealing with ATC or anything like that. So we're going to try and avoid that in the best way possible. So let's go back to the descent page, because that's what we were on. So in order to offset this, we're going to go route, and then here at offset. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in, we're going to go to the left, so we're going to use L. We're going to go 5L, put that in, and then here it gives us a line of what it's going to look like. So let's erase that. Let's put in 7L. There we go. 7L should get us around the weather. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to come up here, and we're going to figure out where we want to end it. I think we're going to try and end our offset at this TWONA, T-W-O-N-A. So we're going to start it here, and then we're going to end at T-W-O-N-A waypoint. You can actually start the offset wherever you want, but we're going to go ahead and start it immediately. So now that we've got that in, we're going left 7 miles. We're going to hit execute, and now the plane is going to fly that offset. You'll see now it's turning left. It's going to fly that offset, and eventually it's actually going to go in here at knuckle. So now, this big weather cell that's over here is going to be mostly avoided, and hopefully we won't have any issues with it. Alright, now I will see you guys, 1, if the weather gets bad, or 2, when we are closer to arrival. Alright. Alright, so we're back now, and we are catching a little bit of turbulence as we are coming in, as you can kind of see. There've also been a couple flashes of lightning. We're mostly avoiding the weather, but we are directly to the right of it. It's right out here on these clouds. You can kind of see it from the first officer's seat, and our speed is jumping all over the place. Oh, there's a nice flash of lightning. One thing that you do have to keep in mind with the 737 is it keeps its speed based off the pitch of the aircraft, so you got to watch this vertical deviation. If you're not descending fast enough because it's trying to maintain a certain speed, you got to deploy the speed brakes. So in this case, we are deploying the speed brakes to stabilize our speed a little bit and also reduce this vertical deviation. You can watch it right here as well, and also right here, this little scale on both these displays. So now we are below the descent path, so we need to gain a little more speed, but in my opinion it's always better to be a little bit low than it is to shoot too high. Looks like avoiding the weather actually turned out in our favor. We're climbing down through these clouds. The weather's in those big cells back there. But now as we're descending through, what a great start to the World Tour Wednesday. Man. Now, I'm going to let you guys go again, and I'll see you again when we get closer to our final approach. Alright, so we are making our final turn onto the near the approach path. I put in the ILS frequency of 110.95. Now we are going to do our approach ref. We're just going to land with flaps 30. It's easy enough. Other than that, now we're set up. So 142 is our speed. So let's keep in mind 147. That's what we will set into the speed selector when it becomes time. But we're going to leave speed brakes in to continue slowing down, and we're also going to go ahead and arm the localizer. Looks like there's some low-hanging 5,000 foot clouds we're going through. But we should be out of those soon. And for when we get down, we're going to be parking at gate 56. Pull up the charts real quick. And here we go. So here are the charts. Runway 17 left is over here. Gate 56 is on this. Airside 3 right on the corner. So it's going to be nice and easy for us to park up. Now let's get back in, and we can start getting closer to arming or to catching that localizer. Once we catch the localizer, we're going to go ahead and put in flaps 5, and so that we can start slowing down. Looks like we're still about 15 to 17 miles out, and I think we can take the speed brakes out now. We're going to put them in the armed position. And we have caught the localizer, so we're going to hit flaps twice and go to flaps 5. Or 2 actually, sorry. I forgot there's something in between flaps 1 and flaps 5. And now that we are on the localizer, we're going to go ahead and arm approach as well. Just so that when we actually do catch the glide, we will start descending. The glide should start right at this curve waypoint. Now we are slowly descending. We're going to go ahead and do some last minute checks. Our landing lights are on. Everything else in the overhead panel is good. Auto brakes we're going to set to 2. We do have that in already. Course gets automatically set. Other than that, we are now on the glide slope, and we can start descending, and I do have a visual of the airport right over there. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I Or, well, no, I believe I am mistaken. Yep. 17 left is the furthest runway away from where we actually want to park. I think I meant to do 18 left, but that's alright. We will land on 17 left and then go from there. Alright, we're going to go ahead and hit flaps 5 as well and continue our slowdown. And now it looks like the speed is mine to control. So if we remember that number from earlier, it is 142 plus 5. So it's going to be 147. It's going to be our target speed. Let ourselves slow down a little bit more on our own, but we don't want to slow down too much. Go ahead and put out flaps 10 as well, just for some extra drag. And in a second, we're also going to put down the gear at about 2,500 feet. Alright, we're past flaps 10 maneuvering speed. We're going to go for the next flap setting. And it's going to whine at us until we put gear down anyway. Because once we get to flaps 15, we are at our approach. We are on final approach. 25 and flaps 30. So we're configured a little bit early, about 8 miles out, but other than that, we're good to go. So once we get about 5 miles from the threshold of the runway, I am going to take over and manually land. Hopefully that will be in just a second. Alright, a little bit past 5 miles out, but I'm going to go ahead and take out the autopilot, silence the horn, set my view, and manually land this thing. 2 hours and 9 minutes in, and we are actually on our final approach now. Been a nice length flight. Slight movement of the throttle, or the, well, in my case, stick, but yoke. Looks like we're a little right of the path now. But in terms of our vertical deviation, we're right on course. Maybe a little bit high. I think I see three whites. And we're going to try and stop pretty quick so that we don't have to do any backtracking on the taxiway. And we can get on that bridge that takes us all the way across. So if you look over there, we are the farthest left, farthest east runway possible. But it's nothing that we can't fix, of course. Now it looks like we're getting a little too high. Go down a little bit, and we're going to catch that diamond right in the middle of the vertical path. It's a nice little conference center down there that we're about to fly over, or something. Looks like a little convention building. Alright, we're still too high. I see 3 white pappies. There we go, 2 red, 2 white. Let's leave that. And coming in nice and easy. Coming in a little too high. That's alright.
50, 30,
And flare.
10.
Flare too much. And reversers out. And this here is the taxiway that we want to be on. Alright, after 2 hours and 12 minutes, we are down safely on the ground at Orlando. And now we can go taxi and park up. And get our gate-to-gate time on the other clock. Other than that, let's go ahead and deconfigure from landing. Flaps all the way up. Auto brake off, as well as speed brakes down. And so that it's ready by the time we get there. Taxi lights on, and APU on. Alright, so it looks like we managed to avoid most of that weather. We went around it, as we demonstrated earlier. We had the routing offset so that we didn't have to fly straight through the weather, even though we still had a little bit of the effects of it. Other than that, very smooth flight. Very, very smooth. Trying to stay on the taxiways, obviously not doing a very good job. Looks like the APU is started up. Go ahead and put the APU gens on, so that when we get to the gate we can just shut off the engines and be done. We are going to leave this in a long turnaround state. Not going to go ahead and completely shut down the aircraft, but turn off the IRSs, turn off the engines, put it on ground power, and everything like that. So we're going to look both ways when crossing the runway, as is good practice, even if you know for a fact, like I do, that there's going to be no traffic. Also go ahead and turn off the flight director so it'll reset the MCP. And I can see somewhat in the distance over there the terminal building that we are going to be parking up at. This is quite the long taxiway. If I had actually picked the correct runway, it wouldn't be so long, but that's alright. Gives me a good bit of a chance to practice my taxiing skills, which could always use some work. And to check out the nice scenery. Let's see, I'm not sure if I remember who made, yes, I remember now. This is a Taxi2Gate scenery. Taxi2Gate KMCO is what you would Google if you want it. It's one of the first sceneries I did ever get outside of KDFW, which we just came from. So this is one of the first two sceneries that I actually did purchase for myself. So yeah, it's pretty nice. It does work with version 4. I don't think they updated it for anything for version 4. I don't believe there's any dynamic lighting at night. But it does work with version 4, so that is a plus. It looks like there's uneven taxiway going across that bridge there. It's interesting. And it looks like the ground's a little wet too, because I'm spraying water behind myself there. Oh, and there's some lightning up ahead. I guess according to the weather radar, it's all up there. So we're going to actually go ahead and turn the weather radar off so we have a clean display, and turn traffic off as well. And once we come around this edge, we're going to be turning right on the Charlie taxiway. We're currently on the Foxtrot taxiway. We're going to turn right on Charlie and then enter the ramp on Bravo 7. And then once we're on Bravo 7, we're going to pull straight into gate 56. So as we speed by here, this is Echo 2. Echo 2 crosses into the Airside 3 ramp. Our next right should be Echo 1, and then the right after that should be the Charlie taxiway. Got some nice swamps. I am sure there are some gators in there, but I don't really want to go find out. Alright, so that is Echo 1, and I see the signs for the Charlie taxiway. So we're going to slow down just a little bit here. And we're going to take a right. Slow down. We don't need to be taking our turns at 21 knots ground speed. And then Bravo 7 is going to be our next right. And I believe 56 is right there. Oh, yep, right on the edge there. I see it. Sweet. So once we take a right here on Bravo 7, we have spotted 56. We're actually going to try and find it on GSX, gate 56. I don't need to follow me. Let's use American Airlines. And there we go. Looks like they're set up. And we should have a marshaller bring us in. A nice right turn here. Alright, and where is the guy to bring us in? There he is. Alright, so I see how the gate is set up. And now we're going to take a nice right turn here. Nice sweeping right turn. Put in a little more power. He's telling me to go to the right. Oh, that was a nice lightning flash. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Oh, need a little more power. Well, we stopped a little short. There we go. Parking brakes. And engines off. And we are parked up. And we shut off the engines. And as you can see, that is why we turn the APU and the APU gen on, so that we can just shut off the engines immediately. Now that we've done that and the engines are off, we can go to the ground connections here, set the wheel chocks, put on ground power in the AC unit, which means now we can switch ground power on, turn the AP off, taxi lights off, position light to steady, anti-collision off, yaw damper off, IRS is off, undo all the fuel pumps, undo all the gens, electric hydraulics, probe heats, and disarm the emergency lights. Alright, and now that we're all set, everybody can stand up, and now we can go ahead and open the doors. Connect the jetway. Jetway is moving. And request deboarding. Alright, we have successfully made it down on the first leg of World Tour Wednesday here. Very exciting. This was a great flight, and I look forward to seeing you all next week with KMCO to KDCA, which is Washington Ronald Reagan, I believe. I did not double check, but I should have. But it should be Ronald Reagan. So yeah, we are down on the ground here at KMCO, deboarding after the first successful leg of World Tour Wednesday. So until next week, I will see you all in the skies. Bye-bye now.